This is closer than you think, I bet, for their average finishes. And I tried to include. This is just based off the Disc Golf Pro Tour finishes. I tried to include the majors, but I didn't like the way it was working, so I just went back to the normal. I was trying to cheat so I could win, and it wasn't going my way. But
Yo, what it do? Welcome back to the Players Meeting, a Win Dummies production. I'm your host, Lucas Deal, and we are rocking episode number 27. In this episode, we're going to break down DGLO, Discraft Great Lakes Open. We'll talk about the winners, the losers, the surprise performances, the DNFs, and an odd man left out. We'll give you an update on the Rookie of the Year and talk about some history that was made this weekend. But before we get into that, listen up. You can find this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Wherever you get it, we are there. Just search for the words Win Dummies. If you have not, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would love to have you. We love hearing from you ding-dongs. Let's bring in the one-time world champion, Chris Smith, a.k.a. Smitty. Smitty, what up, dude?
kind of recovered from a fun weekend, man.
Yeah, so it must be stated, my man, congratulations, you are the Frontier Open MP40 champion. I know that tournament means a lot to you. I know Ron Rice was there, who was integral in your playing career. If you wanted to talk about your weekend at all.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Ron Rice is I played disc golf over 20 years before I ever even met him. So I'd been in the same circle as him, but, never talked, never chewed the fat or anything. And then, just to know just how much that dude has changed my life in the last 25 years. If I wouldn't have found disc golf at Frontier Park, man, I don't know what I would be doing right now. It would probably be not as good as some of the stuff I do now. But yeah, man, that tournament is just amazing because it's more than just a tournament. It's an event where, I see people there that I only see every time I go to Frontier Open. And I can see you that every time I go there, the same people are going to be there. You got like Doc Norby from Lawrence and Kevin Montgomery from Kansas City. You got Sue B from Colorado, just so many people that just show up there. And then just, it was like an old KDJ reunion. Some of the people that were there that you just don't see very often. Don Mordecai from Norton. And the cool thing was this Eric Eastwood, who is from Kansas City. It was his first Frontier Open. I passed him on the course going the other way, and he was playing with Sean Mann, Don Mordecai, Brett Strait, Adam Mosier, 4 guys who've been in the KDJ as long, if not longer, than I have. So it was really pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I'm rocking a 35th annual Frontier Open shirt.
I got a couple of Players Pack items I want to show off just to show how cool this event is, that even people in the pro divisions get a Players Pack. Everybody got one of these little wooden minis or tokens. It's kind of hard to see there, but that's one of the old stamps of the swinging bridge. But the cool thing is this came from a tree that broke down in the park, and they milled it down and turned it into flat boards and then cut out circles and did all of the printing on them. So these are really cool. There's something on the back, but I can't read it. I have to zoom in with my phone. That's what I was trying to do, and you came. And then I thought this was super cool too. A towel.
Let me make you full screen here. Hold on.
A towel from the event that features some the original drawings that Ron Rice created when he was designing the park and gave these to Ethan. So, you got all the holes, you got the original layout on there. So this thing's going to go on the wall somehow. I'm not sure, but it's definitely not going into my disc golf bag.
Just that thing super is cool. Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So I love that. And since it was the 40th year, they gave away a green shirt to the hottest shooting master, and it was like a work shirt, so kind of like the Masters of real golf. So
Yeah.
I won that, and it was pretty awesome. But I'm sure I can go back and win another one. So I gave it to Ron. I hope that it means the world to him. So yeah, and I had a blast, man. I had Ivan on the bag all weekend.
Yeah.
We were just having a blast. He was giving me advice on holes and what I should do and what I should throw, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I'm sure he's not going to forget that anytime soon. So that's awesome that he was there all weekend with you.
He only took 10%.
Well, hey, dude, let's get into the weekend. I know you had a busy weekend. I was fairly busy myself, so I caught bits and pieces of the tournament. But let's start where we always start. What's poppin'? What's been happening around the world of disc golf? And we know this weekend it was all about DGLO. And let's start with the ladies. Holyn Hanley. She does it. 3-stroke victory. Her second win of the year. 1,001 rated golf on the weekend. Holyn was 7th after the second round. Her third round, she shot 10 under, 1033 rated, and moved her into first by 1 stroke. And she really didn't look back. Hey, let's look at her lifetime record against Kristin Tattar. 2-27-1. And this season she was 0-8. So she was probably not the favorite for this tournament when Kristin is in the field. But mind you, most of the women in the FPO are going to have similar records against Kristin Tattar. But, Smitty, give me your thoughts on Holyn this weekend.
I watched 0 women's coverage. I was out busy playing I guess I watched a little bit of it Thursday, but I was busy playing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I have no idea how it all shook out. I do think it's pretty impressive to bounce back from that Worlds debacle and come out. But yeah, like you said, I would think if you would check most women's records against Kristin Tattar, it's going to be very similar to that. I mean, she's been a dominant force over the last few years. So I'm sure somebody like Owen Scoggins probably has closer to 500, but still getting stomped, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really my question I had for you was we really talked about maybe that being the biggest collapse in disc golf history from Holyn, and to bounce back like that, to get her second win, I think that says a little bit about her resilience. And even in that picture that you shared there, like you can tell how much that meant to her. I mean, that smile says it all. That is not a fake smile. She is genuinely happy that she won that golf tournament.
Yeah, I think that 2 things could have happened with that collapse at Worlds, and depending on who you are, it could either bury you, and that's just the end of it. You don't recover from that, or apparently maybe Holyn Hanley took it the other way and it was fuel to her fire, and she came out on top of it. It's one event. We can't base the rest of her career off of what happens here, but I mean, I think it's great that she won. Great for her.
No, I think it's really, really nice. And I do want to talk about a few of the other women. Of course, Haley King was lead or chase card all weekend. She shot 996 rated golf over the 4 days. She finished as second. A really good tournament for her. That's her third second place finish on the year. Do you see her winning one this year, Smitty?
I think she should win every single one of them. I always say that I think she's the most talented woman. I think she's the most fun to watch. I don't like some of the antics off the course and some of the, like, everything that went on social media wise after Worlds. I don't care for any of that. But if she would just play disc golf and play the way I think she's capable of, and the way that I know that she knows that she's capable of, I think she should be in the running for every single tournament. So,
yeah, I mean, she definitely has all the skills. It's just between the ears. So I do want to also mention Kristin Tattar. She has another podium finish, third place. We know Kristin Tattar is, without a doubt, the most dominant woman in the sport right now. but she was only one back going into the final round, and she's 6 back when things are said and done. With her Worlds performance, with this performance, I just don't think she's looking crisp. Should we be worried at all about Kristin Tattar?
I'm not worried about her. I don't. I mean, she's amazing. I mean, coming back from injury, marriage, living or being this far from home for however long, a lot going on there, and she's right. She's right there in the running and not playing great. So, I don't have any concerns that she'll still end up being the GOAT in women's disc golf.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that she can, not look her best, make me even ask a question if you're worried or not, and she's still getting podium finishes. That just shows even when she's not at her best, she's still good enough to get a podium finish. So
yeah, you take any of these other gals and they don't play their best, and they're going to be out of the top 10 most likely. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned about her one bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, who knows what'll happen.
All right, well, let's talk about the gentleman here. And this was closer than it needed to be. But Gannon went ahead and took it down. Gannon Buhr's 6th win on the season. He had a 5-stroke lead going into the final round. I didn't even start watching this because I thought the thing was over. But the final round, he didn't do himself any favors. He had to make some shots down the stretch, but he was able to do that and capitalize when it mattered the most. Smitty, what were your thoughts on Gannon this weekend? We'll talk about some of those other players here in a bit.
Well, he won every Elite Plus event of the year, all 4 of them, all 4 rounders. So, cream rises to the crop, cream rises to the top, the longer they play. And he's going to be hard to beat in any 4-round tournament. I think this was good for him, though. This was a different win than all the rest of them. This is one he hadn't had. This is one where he was under a little adversity and he was getting pushed, and he's a bad dude, man. I don't know if you saw the shot. I think it was 14, 13, somewhere in there. He threw into the stuff on the right, and it was above his head. And they're saying he's going to have to pitch out. He somehow found a way to throw an overhand shot to the perfect location to attack the pin and save the par. And then I think it's hole 15. Rick absolutely just laced it and was just fired up. And Gannon just threw just the most beautiful shot right down the pipe and inside the circle. So, yeah, he won this one differently than he has any of the others. It wasn't a dominating win. It wasn't come from behind. He earned this for sure. And, yeah, he might not lose again the rest of the year.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 4 Disc Golf Pro Tour Plus events this year. He wins all of them. It's just crazy because we talk all the time about the field and how tough the field is and how you never know who's going to win, who's going to pop off. And to sweep those 4-round tournaments, it's just ridiculous. I think you kind of mentioned it. The cream rises to the top there. And that's why he's so hard to beat in those 4-rounders, is because he just plays so consistent. When he has a good round, it's not just good, it's amazing.
Yeah, and the other thing that is incredible about this kid is not only is he the best player, he's also the luckiest player on the course as well. That roller on 18, the last round, that could have easily went out of bounds. It looked like it was out of bounds and came back in. He had another one early that was turning over, going OB, and bounces off of a tree. It just seems like
the kick on 16.
Yeah, it just seems like he never gets a terrible break. And the only thing, man, is I love watching him golf. I hate watching his reactions. I hate the hands to the sky for 30 seconds after a throw. I hate I threw that perfect and it's out of bounds. No, you didn't throw. Maybe maybe he means he threw it exactly the way he wanted, but it wasn't perfect, or it wouldn't have been out of bounds. So,
yeah, I agree with that, and I think we've mentioned that many times, and I still chalk it up to he's young. He's going to get better and better and better, and I think he's working on some things. I think I did love that his mom was on the bag with him this weekend, and yeah, he's got a good core group around him too. That's going to make him a better person too, because all of those guys are stand-up people.
Well, you're exactly right. We always forget that he's so dang young, and that's the way kids act today. It's
more than most.
I see it all day long, but I'll tell you what. I also give him credit for my favorite moment from the Great Lakes Open when he and that had to be Gavin Babcock, were out there wrestling in those gorilla suits during Isaac's press conference. That was fantastic. I'm sure that'll get a lot of people ticked off about making a mockery of disc golf, but it was Wednesday afternoon. Nobody was watching except for disc golfers. And if any disc golfer watched that and didn't love it, quit disc golf, you suck. That was hilarious.
It was, man. It was such a good time. And if you haven't seen it, I'll give you a little clip of it right here.
Anyway. Okay. I was talking to some spectators during the final round, and they were talking to me about your...
Not only was this Gannon's 6th win of the year, but this set a record for Gannon. He has now set the new PDGA record with the most money ever earned in a single season, and we still have tournaments left, Smitty. He's at $125,638. That's a lot of Legos.
Yeah, dude. And think of some of the tournaments he has coming up, right? He's got Vermont, Smuggler's Notch, whatever they call that. Wins that, let's say that's probably 10 to 12. He's got Maple Hill, wins that 10 to 12. USDGC, that's probably 15 or more thousand. Whatever they do for this championship thing, this dude could go over 200,000, right? Wasn't it just like 3 years ago we were going crazy that Kristin Tattar went over 100,000 and then Rick played a tournament after to catch her? Nuts.
Crazy. And you know, that's just going to continue to rise. I know we talked about Rick and Paul and how close they were to $1 million. With the way that Gannon plays, the money that's in the field now, I think he beats them to $1 million. And I don't think that's a hot take. I think he's that good, and the money is just going to grow and grow and grow.
I don't know if he'll beat them to $1 million because they got a pretty good head start on him. But
yeah,
I think all three of them will make it to $1 million in winnings,
easily,
most likely.
Yeah.
So
Paul's the only question mark there. Rick he's playing extremely well, and I actually want to talk about Rick. So Rick finishes tied second. He was putting some real pressure on Gannon there late. He had some big fist pumps right in Gannon's stupid face, but he missed some putts that he normally makes. He had a tough lie on 17, couldn't get a full swing, kind of similar to how he was at 18 at the European Open. Couldn't get that clean run up and reach back. I just feel sorry for the dude. Listen to this, Smitty. He has 4 wins on the season. He has 4 second place finishes and 3 third place finishes. 55% of the time, if he's in a tournament, he's getting top 3.
The dude is phenomenal and playing every bit as good as he ever has. You know, if this kid wasn't on the scene, well, first of all, we don't know if Rick would be pushing himself as hard as he is to get this good, because Rick doesn't want to lose at anything. If you play checkers against Rick, he's going to be fist bumping in your face when he jumps you. But yeah, I mean, incredible. And you're right. It came down to hole 17, and that lie on 17 to try to get to the green was way harder than the European Open. He had to go up a little hump, down a hump, and throw the dang thing 60 feet above his head. So he got off in the crap and chipped out. And that was a phenomenal putt just to give himself a chance on 18.
Yeah.
And then that shot by Gannon from the fairway was gross.
Yeah. I mean, the fairway, and even his tee shot was in the perfect position, right on 17. So,
yeah. And then Rick tried to throw it in on 18 to put the pressure on him and made another outside the circle putt to finish second. So,
yeah. So Rick finishes tied second because also Isaac, right off his Worlds win, also finishes tied second and had a pretty good performance as well. But he wasn't pushing the same way that Rick was.
I don't think Isaac's ever going to look like he's pushing. It's just two different games. Rick is going to be, like you said, in your face, pumping his fist, throwing the flashiest shots you've ever seen, and hype man supreme. And Isaac is just going to be walk up there, take maybe 0.25 seconds, throw the most amazing flex over shot you've ever seen right to where he wants, and then make a putt. So yeah. I think they're both pushing the same. I just think two different personalities, and Isaac is never going to look like he's, riding the momentum train like Rick is. When Rick gets going, boy, you can tell. I love it.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like the way that Rick pumps himself up, because when he pumps himself up, it gets every crowd member, even if you're not a Rick fan, it gets everyone around him just jacked. And he uses that, right? He uses that to his advantage.
How can you not like that guy?
I know.
There's people that can't stand him. And I mean, probably all the same reasons why Gannon Buhr gets under our skin. There's probably people that don't like Rick getting us so fired up.
Yep. So I really want to mention a few people that finished outside of the podium, but way up there. And let's look at these dudes. Who are they? What are those faces? Do we know who these guys are?
I do.
Yeah. Do you at home? Do you know who those people are? Because if you don't, get used to these names, because they are better than you think they are. They are sneaky, sneaky good.
Yeah, I mean, that's Luke Taylor in the red. Just came off of fourth place? Yeah, fourth place at Worlds. I mean, look at his last three tournaments. Fourth at Worlds, third at the event between the two, the CCR, and then sixth here at the Great Lakes Open. But, I mean, this dude, before Worlds, we went down that list, and I remember that Logan was on, and I said, Luke Taylor. And Logan's like, he's good. And I'm like, no shot at winning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, over the last 3 weeks, this dude's showing that he could win. I don't know if he could have won a 5-rounder at Worlds, but he could win a 3-rounder.
Yeah. Listen to this, Smitty. We know he finished fourth at Worlds, but he also finished 10th at Portland Open, 9th at Beaver State, 5th at the Preserve, and 6th now at DGLO. When I looked at his stats for the year, I was surprised he had that many top 10s. He's very, very sneaky. But, man, we saw in Worlds how far that guy throws, and then his putting.
I think his putting is what holds him back. His C2 putting, for whatever reason, I feel like he's more confident out there. I don't know if it's no pressure if you don't make it, bonus if you do type deal. But, I mean, he still putted pretty well inside the circle as well. But 10 of 23 from C2, and I think he was like 87 or something % from circle one. I looked at it earlier. I don't remember. But, yeah, like you said, off the tee, he's a monster. So,
yeah. But, yeah, he does drop some deep putts, the ones that I'm remembering, and you're not going to always hit those. So
right. And it'll be interesting to see what happens to him as we kind of switch styles with golf here. From all the courses you mentioned are big courses, with the exception of maybe Beaver State Fling. But we're getting ready to go into the woods here for a few weeks, so we'll see. I'm not going to count him out at USDGC. If he can keep it in bounds, he's going to be be in the mix.
Yeah, let's talk about this other guy here. Clash Discs sponsored Evan Smith.
This dude birdied half the holes. The top birdie percentage was 51%. He had 50%. So he was right on the heels of the most birdies. What I thought was cool about him is if you look in 2022, third at Des Moines, 23, third at DDO, 24, third at Great Lakes Open. So top five finishes at Disc Golf Pro Tour events for this dude. And he didn't play any before 2022. So each year he's played one. He's been in the top three.
I was looking at his stats too. He finished 11th at Open at Austin, 7th at Des Moines this year, 13th at Idlewild and Ledgestone. So, I mean, he's another one. And all these kids, I mean, Gannon included, these are your core guys that we're seeing consistently now. You throw in Joey Buckets, who's also fairly young, I think. And there's a number of cats that are going to be pushing each other for a long time coming.
Sullivan Tipton, Anthony Barella.
There you go. Yep, AB. It's funny to think AB's so young, but he is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how old dudes like Adam Hammis are, or Eagle. Eagle's probably, what, 24, 5, maybe 26?
Yeah.
So those are the old men on the tour.
Yeah, it's true. And I don't know how old Isaac and Ezra are.
They're not too old, I don't think.
Yeah, I think they're still early 20s. I don't think they're 20, either of them are 25, but I don't know that for sure. Yeah, we talked about Luke. We talked about Evan. Here in the middle, I'm going to throw a name at you and tell me what you think of when you hear the name Braeden Sides.
Well, I know Ronnie picked him as a sleeper earlier in the year.
Yep.
But here we go. Another dude that played the fourth round or played the full tournament and is the only guy to not cash, man.
That's the worst.
I don't know how this keeps happening. I mean, at least give him his entry fee back or something.
I know. Poor guy. And on the women's side, anyone that played the fourth round cashed. On the men's side, everyone except for Mr. Sides.
I'm guessing it's just because they end up with a tie to get in. And since it's tee times, there's like no way to play off to see who actually gets in. So they let them all in. I mean, I don't know if he was excited to play or not. I don't know if I would be. If I knew there was a chance I was going to go home with nothing. So
yeah, it seems like there needs to be a better way for sure. No one wants to play that final round and get nothing for it.
And then look at these dudes who missed the cut and got to be spectators.
Yeah, I'm going to name some names here, Smitty. There's one that definitely sticks out to me that I think is the front runner and the biggest shock. But I'm going to name these names. You tell me which one. Nico LaCastro, Zach Arlinghouse, Nicholas Antela,
Ding, ding, ding.
Casey White, Chandler Kramer, Mason Ford, Luke Humphreys, Gavin Rathbun, Jesse Niemanen, Chris Clemens, Gavin Babcock, and Garrett Gerthy.
I would say out of all of those names, I would expect all of them with the state of disc golf now and, all these young kids that we're seeing and just talked about. It's hard to be up there in the top cash line. And the only one that really absolutely surprises me is little Nick not getting in the cash. But, the rest of them I could see slipping and having a bad week, not playing their best golf. But, yeah, I'm really surprised at Nick. And there's some people on that list that are just having what I would kind of consider a pretty terrible year for them. Chris Clemens, how many times did we see him on coverage last year and nothing this year? Chandler Kramer, we know everything he's gone through and went. Nico LaCastro. So Zach Arlinghouse, he's just a kid. He shot 19 down or something last week, but different kind of course here. Garrett Gerthy, twilight of his career. So
agreed. Gavin Babcock, was having a pretty solid year. I think early we talked multiple times about him. And I think for me, Mason Ford is not a surprise to me as I picked him as a stink. But he averages top 20. So I think that is a little shock for someone that usually, finishes up there.
Yeah, he's super good, and he's one of those guys that you just always expect to perform and be in the mix somewhere, for sure. So then we got another list of people.
Yeah. Here's our
DNFs. People that didn't make it, and I don't know much about what happened with any of them. I know that Big Germ, I saw on Instagram, he said he was having a serious back pains. I saw that Scott Stokely had an inner ear infection, which was making him dizzy. And I saw that Paige had a death in the family.
Yep, Grandpa passed.
Yeah, I know the reason for those three. I don't know the reason for the rest.
The only other one that I know is Lisa Fakis, who had a rotator cuff issue.
I saw. She's going to be back,
shoulder.
though.
Yeah, that's the joke. Is she said I'll be on the next stop, and everyone's like, well, that may not happen. But it turns out it was more of a rib issue as well. So it might be definitely worse than.
That's what Rick had. Rick had a rib pop out. I know Logan had a rib pop out when he was out there. I guess for people who aren't watching on the YouTube, which they should be if they haven't liked and subscribed and followed on YouTube, they probably should go ahead and do that. But for our podcast listeners that are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, we got Jake Wolf, Trevin Crow, Big Germ, Chandler Fry, David Lewis, Scott Stokely, Paige Pierce, and Lisa Fiakis, or however you want to say it. So what about 9 of them there, DNF?
Yep. Quite a bit. Only 2 on the women's side, but yeah. But that course does it. I think that's the course where Kevin Kiefer tore his ACL or MCL or whatever he did to his knee.
And, I could see that course being a nightmare for Jake Wolf. If you're throwing every shot overhand onto those fairways and greens, you got no control over what's going to happen to that puppy. And, he's got a good sidearm game. He can put a move on it, but almost no backhand unless that was a spoof that I saw him and Drew doing. But And then I don't know. The only name on there I don't know anything about is this David Lewis guy. I've never heard of David Lewis.
I don't know.
So
Not familiar.
And then we got one more list that I threw on here for you. I don't know if you looked at it before.
Yeah, I saw that. So the Rookie of the Year. I thought that was cool. We talked about it last week, and Luke, I think, was the favorite. Or
yeah, they're in the order they were in off of a PDJ website last week. So Luke helped his cause because you get points for the top 3 in an A tier. So I think he gains, I don't know if it was 5 maybe. So he'll gain some points. Yeah. Miles Sayer played a B tier. No help to your PDJ Rookie of the Year. You could win every B tier on the planet and get nothing as far as I can tell. Mr. Gomez and Mr. Miller took the weekend off. And then Corbin went down to DGLO and got 80th place.
And that does him no favors, correct?
None.
He doesn't, just for competing, he's not going to get anything.
No. I mean, apparently he's pretty good at disc golf if he's getting into all of these. If I was him, I'd start looking at if Rookie of the Year is something that he is interested in, I'd be looking around, in the neighborhood of 2-hour drive, like to Wichita, to find A tiers that didn't have tremendous fields like Wichita. And I'd come on down here to the keeper of the chains and try to get up there and get me some of these Rookie of the Year points. So,
yep. Yeah. We'll be there final round, disc and deals coverage. So we'll also get you on coverage, my man. Get out there. Someone knows Corbin. Tag him. Tell him to come on down.
If you wanted to score some points, I think you could find multiple A tiers this time of the year in and around your neck of the woods. I know he could hit Roundup for sure, not Roundup. He could hit a keeper for sure. Oklahoma Open, I'm sure he'll hit. I'm sure there's some in Texas that wouldn't be
Yeah,
too far for him.
The Nevada Open that's happening in November. That's one that Tyson Jones runs in Nevada, Missouri.
Mhm.
So that's another one. I think Prezi is back-to-back champion of that one. But, you're finishing top 3, you're getting points, and you aren't far behind Luke. And Luke's just playing Canadian tournaments, so does it even count?
Unless Thomas Gilbert's there and Thomas Gilbert smokes him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we saw Thomas, I think, finished lower than Corbin did.
Right on. Well, let's look at this.
All right.
Let's look at this last graphic we have. And
yeah, I threw this on there. I thought this was kind of interesting. This is comparing the disc golf market and this is probably hard for some of you to see, but of 2018 with 2024. This is from infinitedisc.com, their sales by brand from 2018 to now. Now, of course, where you can purchase discs has changed, and I think that's probably a big portion of this. But you can see Innova went from 37% to 20%, so they dropped 17%. Dynamic discs dropped 7% from, I think, 9 to like 2%. Discmania dropped 6%. And of course, this is Infinite Discs website. So Infinite did jump 12.4%. But Discraft also jumped 4%. And those were really the only ones that really jumped. And at the end of the day, I look at this and I'm like, it's just a change of where people are purchasing their plastic more than likely.
I'd say a couple things about this. First thing I would say is that you can always skew the numbers to tell a story you want to tell, right?
Yeah,
so we don't know what's going on here. And like you said, of course, Infinite's numbers are going to go up because I'm guessing they're probably the first place people go to buy Infinite discs.
Mm-hmm.
So the percentage of their sales for sure went up. And I don't know how many discs they had of their own in 2018. I know they pretty much have a full line now of
They do
leftover Innova molds that they sell. So, why wouldn't Innova go down if you can throw a Sphinx instead of a Shrike or whatever its counterpart is, if you like the stamp better? The other thing I would say about this is, as cool as this visual is, spend another 10 minutes and make it better. Make Innova the same blue on each. Make Discraft the same orange. I mean, this thing is worthless,
kills
man.
me.
It literally would take 10 minutes to update this chart and have the colors match. So
It's true.
I mean,
I just want everyone to know I did not make this, or it would have looked a lot better. I just quickly grabbed it, but I'm a sucker for a pie chart. But you're right, somebody. I look at that, and the OCD is screaming at me. They could have done it a lot better.
As I looked at it, I noticed that the colors are in the same order going around the clockwise.
Yep.
Right. But the names aren't. And yeah, it's just no good. I want to be able to look at it without having to read and say, oh, yellow went down, but yellow's Discraft on one and MVP on the other. But yeah, I think that I would love to see something like this more globally if there was any way to get that, because I think that Simon and Eagle going to MVP is going to be tremendous, and obviously already has been tremendous for their sales. I think Gannon and that whole crew going to Discmania is going to, that they're going to skyrocket over the next couple of years, because you ask any young kid who their favorite player is, and it's going to be Gannon Buhr every single time. So,
yeah. And then you have, with House of Disc coming in, I don't know how that looks like from one thing, like, because you had West Side here on the old one, but now it's all kind of like integrated into one. So yeah, there's a lot of different variables there.
And then different companies stealing a small share of the market. Like I saw Castplast was 2%. They're like any of those little niche brands. They all have a following of diehards that go strong. I would guess in 2018, is probably at the heyday of Team Trilogy. So,
Yep.
Where was Lone Star at on that thing? Put that back up there.
Yeah, they were on it. So they're 2% there. I bet they're not going to be 2% for too much longer.
In 6 more years, they won't even be on there, buddy.
No, they won't. I'd like to see it just next year. I don't think they're going to be on there. All right. Well, that's fun. Glad we got to talk about that. But let's jump into our picks. Let's do that now. Dun 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 dun. Weekly picks. All right. So me versus you this week, and we had
a stink battle here.
We did, man. We really did.
I went with Little Nick, who didn't make the cut, and you went with Mason Ford, who didn't make the cut. So now that I'm thinking about it, we should have went red. No, we should have went green because that's good.
Green. Yeah, that's fantastic.
But
what did you do though? Oh, yeah, you should have gave yourself a green there.
Yeah, I'm good with this, and I'll tell you why. This is let me pull my other one up here on the background. This is pretty interesting. This is closer than you think, I bet, for their average finishes. And I tried to include. This is just based off of Disc Golf Pro Tour finishes. I tried to include the majors, but I didn't like the way it was working, so I just went back to the normal. I was trying to cheat so I could win, and it wasn't going my way. But yeah, Little Nick averages 20th place, so he shot 25 worse, which is pretty bad.
Yeah,
and Mason Ford averages average finishes 25th place. So he was 26th place was worse. So he's one place worse. So
well, that happens so often to us, like where one is just one away. That's crazy. But yeah, both
couple of great picks for
picks, because we usually, this is our worst subject. Stink. We're not usually good at picking these. We did it really good this week.
Yeah, we didn't do bad, did we? So then we went to our sleepers. My dude Eagle, Cartoon Eagle, versus your dude Corey Ellis there.
Yep.
Once again, pretty good stuff. Do you know what place both of them finished?
Yeah, pop up the graphic Corey was 13, Eagle was 8. That's my guess.
8 and 12.
8 and 12. Okay.
8 and 12. So a couple of good sleepers. But once again, you get the green and I get the yellow for a top 10 sleeper finish. I should have given myself green. I should be at 2 greens right now. I'm telling you that right now. Because here's the reason I went there. Eagle averages 22nd in an abbreviated tour.
Mm-hmm.
So 14 places better than normal.
Yep.
And Corey averages 32nd because he's had some rough events this year. So 20 better.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think that's usually what we go off of. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's just like, hey, if your guy sneaks into the top 10, do you earn it? But yeah, so maybe we both have earned greens at this point.
2 more good picks.
Yeah.
2 more good ones. We did a good job there.
But I know how this one ends up here with the shine. You chose, of course, the guy that wins all 4-round tournaments, Gannon Buhr. He did not disappoint. And Dickerson was up there, but he kind of fell off last round, but he still had a good tournament.
Yeah, kind of fell off to a 16th place.
Yeah.
Wow. So I couldn't give you a red, obviously, because we got the top 20 rule.
Yep.
So I need to make a poster of this and hang it on my wall so I know the rules every week. But yeah.
We do switch them up a bit.
But yeah.
Usually you skew it in your favor from what I've noticed.
I try to. So yeah, Gannon, of course. I'll pick him at USDGC and I won't pick him any other event, but you can go ahead and pencil him in for that victory if you want.
Yeah, I'm hoping he gets it.
I'd like to see one of these
I
other
want
dudes.
Dickerson to win one, man. I keep picking him.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player, and he's one of those kind of like Isaac, who is spectacular at golf, but he makes it look easy, and it's different than these other guys.
Yeah.
Right? He's just really, really good, and not flashy, not cocky, not anything. Just goes out there and does his thing with his gigantic towel.
Yeah, my man. I carry a full-blown towel as well, so I appreciate you, Chris. Oh,
what about these guys?
Look at that picture of Landon.
Yeah, this is the second time I've featured Landon in this podcast, and both times with awesome pictures. So, yeah, we had only 2 people out of our thousands and thousands of fans and millions of views. Only 2 people took the time to go ahead and comment their picks. So, hopefully, after the next event, going into the next event, we can get a few more people to comment, because are we going to try to bring both these boys on to pick live or pick on the pod next week if they will?
We were going to do a little drawing, just like see who was going to be, but since we only had 2, we're going to bring you both on next week. We record on Mondays, so make sure you keep your schedule open Monday night. And you're going to come on. Yeah, forget football. Come on in, and we'll get your picks, boys. And I think it'll be fun. We'll do our picks for Green Mountain. We'll record it on Monday.
So we had Greg taking Eagle with the Shine, and Landon taking E-Rob with the Shine. Greg went KJ USA on the stink, who Landon took KJ USA as a sleeper.
Ooh.
Landon took Proctologist as a stink, and Greg took Raven Klein as a sleeper. I kind of bounced around for the podcast listeners, but the YouTube guys are on. And here's their finishes.
And that's Raven Newsom, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, what did I say?
Klein. Classic DD lover.
Well, she didn't make the cut, and neither did this Raven, so it doesn't matter.
That's so Raven.
Yeah. That's so 90s. So let's see how these boys played out. If they were playing out for the this, I was under the assumption that whoever had the best picks was going to come on, but
yeah, I think. Oh, so they tied.
Couple of stoplights.
They tied them. Yeah. So this is how I think we should do it next week, Smitty. We'll bring them both on, and we'll put them all in. But they'll also have their own head-to-head battle. And we'll say whoever wins that head-to-head battle will get to come back on again. And then we'll also bring in a fourth from anyone that comments. I think that'll be fun. But I'll announce that more next week. I think that'll be cool.
And you'll organize all that other stuff in those slides.
Of course, I'll take care of it.
Right, perfect. I love the way you're thinking. So that's that wraps up our picks, dude.
Yeah. But you know what else happened this week? We had Survivor still going on.
I saw Sean was out spotting at Frontier both days, out on the side of the dike, just baking in the sun.
And so here we go. Sean picked Eagle, a tied for 8 finish. Kyle Clement, Chris Dickerson, 16th, just outside the top 15, and Tyson picked Simon, who finished 5th. So guess what? Kyle is gone, but 2 people remain. This never ends. So, boys,
this is good, man.
This has been a battle.
You would just know that Kyle would be the guy that would have a player do really well, but not quite good enough.
I know. Kyle is used to this, just being right outside of winning money. He's really good at that. I think it's happened multiple times at League for him. But that means Sean and Tyson, your picks are going to be due by Wednesday of next week for the Green Mountain. I'll message you guys individually. But what a battle between the two of those. And remember, Tyson this time is playing on the house money.
Yeah.
Remember, we paid his way in because of his terrible pick last time. Well, I don't know if we screwed up, but
No,
he definitely screwed up. Yeah,
that's what I said.
Okay.
We paid his way in because he screwed up.
Yeah, we felt bad. Well, Smitty, we did it. Any shout outs you'd like to give for the week going into this amazing week we're about to be started?
Yeah, just one more time. Thanks to everybody at the Hayes crew for putting on an awesome tournament, an awesome event. Mainly Ethan and Dylan. They worked as the TDs, and I'm sure they had a crew of people in the background getting the course and everything ready. That's truly what it takes to pull off an awesome event, is to have a full support and full buy-in by your entire community, not just this click or that click. If you're gonna pull off a tournament with any kind of reputation for being awesome, it's gonna have to be everybody involved to make it that.
Yep. And I'm just going to say good luck to everyone playing Keeper of the Change this weekend. I know that tournament starts on Saturday, player party on Friday. It's one of the big tournaments here in the Wichita area. So good luck to everyone playing. And we're going to go into the 19th hole. This is the best shot we saw all weekend, and I only saw a limited amounts. It's not the best shot. It's the best moment of the weekend. And we'll play that for you right here in a second. But until next time, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for listening. Hope to see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Beautifully done. Thank you, Perk. Robinson. Even better. Isaac Robinson. A dime. Robinson. Was this a park job yesterday?
Yeah, I think this is the play. You can pull it off. Like, that's how you pure the hole. That is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. 2 days in a row, same disc.
Roll back this Zuka replay of a bullseye on 13.
You got to push it out way wide, challenge the tree line deep, and flip it really late. Gets all the way back to flat. Shots like that are why we love disc golf.
Nothing prettier than a Robinson turnover, man.
That's gorgeous.
Robinson. This shot from Robinson, Brian, the last 2 times. Maybe 3, Brian? No, maybe about it.
Are we in replay right now?
I think that's from yesterday.
What
actually.
the heck? Can we get a triple follow flight on this?